The one where Monica sings is a brilliant and occasionally emotional episode of Friends. This is the 13th episode of season 9. This is directed by Gary Halvorson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. I will talk about each part of the narrative in turn, and I'm very quickly coming to the conclusion with this rewatch that season 9 might be my favourite season. It's pretty amazing. So I will talk about Joey first of all. And then I will talk about Phoebe and Monica, and then Ross and Rachel. So Joey is going to get some new headshots taken, and he was given the advice of getting his eyebrows waxed, and he goes to get it done, but it stings, and then he puts his hand in wax, and it's absolute chaos. And we have one of my favourite Chandler quotes, because Joey goes over to the apartment with a magazine in front of his face. He reveals the one waxed eyebrow, and Chandler responds, "It's like a baby caterpillar chasing its mama," which I absolutely love. And Chandler reveals that he used to earn his pocket money by plucking the eyebrows of his father and his father's business partners, which is a bit of a strange concept, but this gives him the ability to do Joey's eyebrows. And I have to say, I preferred Joey's eyebrows beforehand, but Chandler seemed to do a good job, and it's a really nice bonding moment. We don't have as many Chandler and Joey scenes as we used to, because obviously they don't live together anymore, and it's just nice to have that moment between them. I thought it was really lovely, and I really enjoyed it quite a lot. We then come to Phoebe and Monica. I can't remember if this is the order I said I was going to discuss them, but I will discuss Phoebe and Monica next. Phoebe takes Monica along to the piano bar where Mike is playing and people are singing, and Phoebe sings, and then she encourages Monica to get up and sing. And Monica was a little bit nervous, but she sings Delta Dawn, and I have to say the vocal performance was really nice to listen to. The audience had a great time as well. And that's because when the studio lights are on, they can see right through her shirt. Monica has no idea. Very well written. A lot of innuendos here. I found it to be really great fun, and it's really entertaining. And she is loving the applause. She is loving the audience's response to her. And I really like how this played out, because she decides to sing another song. She's going to sing "I'm So Excited" just as Chandler arrives, and he realizes everybody can see his wife's nipples. So he tells her, and she has a moment of shock. I think just the display of various emotions in a short space of time on Courtney Cox's face was just absolutely fantastic. And Monica realizes, oh, well, they love her anyway. She might as well carry on. And I think that that's generally a good attitude to have, and I rather liked it. And we end the whole episode with Chandler on stage singing "Joy to the World." Jeremiah was a bullfrog, which is my introduction to that song. This was how I first learned about this song. And he did a really great job as well. So both the story with Chandler and Monica, really fun parts to the episode. Then it comes to Ross and Rachel. And I'd say that this part of it isn't fun. There's some comedy, definitely some comedy here, but it gets quite emotional. At the very start of the episode, Ross goes over to Chandler's and, well, Monica and Chandler's, but only Chandler is there, and explains that he saw Rachel kissing Gavin on the balcony. And as Ross said, she could have told me that she was going around kissing guys, but I think in Rachel's defense here, Gavin kissed her. She didn't make the first move. I'm not saying she definitely wouldn't have done, but Rachel wasn't going around kissing guys. Gavin kissed her. Yes, she kissed him back. But I think Ross is being unreasonable at this point. But as I mentioned in my previous discussion, they did talk about them maybe discussing getting back together. This was right after she had Emma, so some time has passed. But I do think Ross is right to be annoyed by this, because they had a plan to discuss things. So it's not that Ross is not valid with his feelings, but I don't think he's going about it the right way. That's definitely the case when he tries to get Chandler to hit on two women in Central Park with him, and the chat-up line is, "Would you rather drown or be buried alive?" To be honest, if somebody approached me with that line, I'd be more inclined to engage in conversation. I'd be wary, but I'd be more inclined to engage in a conversation like that than if somebody just sidled up to me and said, "How you doing?" So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but maybe not the most sensible either. Meanwhile, Rachel has called in sick from work because she doesn't want to face Gavin. And Gavin Gavin didn't come across as being nice the first time we met him, but since then he's kind of gone from strength to strength. He's brought her some soup because he heard she was sick, and she lets him into the apartment, of course. And he sees a picture of Ross and Rachel, and of Ross dusting Rachel with a fossil brush. And he asked her what's going on between them because he doesn't want to get in the middle of anything she has with Ross. Again, he is being so sweet and thoughtful, and it's just completely turning the character around from that initial introduction. And I think they did a really great job with that, with making him likable pretty quickly. Because, of course, this makes it more awkward because had he been a horrible character, we wouldn't want him to be with Rachel. And that means all of this would be a cow's opinion because Rachel would have no business being with him. She wouldn't want to be with him if he was horrible. But because he is nice and her opinion of him has softened, there is a chance they could be together. And Ross sees this chance. So he tries to get his own back by taking a random woman back to his apartment. This is Michelle, played by Jennifer Aspen. And the performance is great. The character is funny. But I think if she became a series regular, I think she'd annoy me quite a lot. But in this episode, pretty entertaining. And this is when Ross and Rachel begin to have an argument. Ross mentions the balcony, and that's fair enough. It's not like he was spying on her. And then he mentioned the number from the guy in the bar. And Ross could have kind of found a way out of this. Rachel, of course, asked, why didn't I get the message? And Ross said he folded it up and put it in his pants pocket. Does she not look there? He easily could have just said, I'm sorry, I thought I told you. He could have easily lied his way out of this, but that wouldn't have been as funny, of course. And Rachel said that they agreed to live together to raise Emma while it made sense. And she suggests that maybe it doesn't make sense anymore. And Ross agrees. And that's difficult. If Ross hadn't agreed, I feel like he was agreeing with her out of frustration and hurt more than because he wants her to leave. But had he not agreed, maybe she would have stayed. But instead, the last thing we see with Rachel is Rachel turning up at Joey's and asking if she can stay there. And it's the start of a new chapter. So it does get quite emotional. Nobody wants to see more distance between Rachel and Ross, especially since they only recently dangled the carrot of them getting back together. So in a way, as a viewer, I find it quite frustrating. And I'll say no more than that. It's a solid episode, though. A lot of comedy, some really wonderful scenes. Chandler was the standout here. Chandler and Monica as well. They were both absolutely fantastic. Brilliantly written. Great performances. And emotional at times as well. As I said, I think season 9 is my favourite. With this rewatch, I feel like I've loved every single episode. And it's rare for a season to not have any weak links. Of course, we still have a good few episodes left, but for now, I think that's the case. And of course, I'm pleased to say that the one where Monica sings is a pretty fabulous episode of Friends.